On today's episode, Polaris Dawn is rising. RFA has a static fire mishap. NASA is going to Mars, and a Starliner decision has been made. Let's get started. I'm Tom with Boundless Space, and I am so excited about Polaris Dawn. But why is it important?
Again, I think it's super fun being at SpaceX, and as they described, we're really a team. So we leverage off of what we learned from NASA in some ways, and then we push it a little bit further in other areas. And then we share with each other what we know, what we don't know, and we really test and evaluate and make sure we're going forward and doing things the right way. This pace of development that we get to do at SpaceX is very much like the pace of development that was required back in the early Apollo days. We're getting a chance to do that again, where we're really starting to push frontiers with the private sector and learning new things that we would not be able to learn by staying in the risk-free environment of here on Earth. It's time to go out, it's time to explore, it's time to do these big things and move forward.
Bam, let's go.
So who's involved? Jared Isaacman, who funded Inspiration 4 and founded the Polaris program, Kid Poteet, the X-Fighter pilot and mission director for Inspiration 4, Sarah Gillis and Anna Menon, who are SpaceX engineers and mission directors for human spaceflight operations. What is the mission? It's testing SpaceX's fundamental exploration technologies and conducting research on the effects of radiation and microgravity in space. One of the new technologies SpaceX is testing with this mission is their new extravehicular activity suits, or EVA. As you may know, on the ISS, they have EVA suits that are self-contained, but they're old and require lots of maintenance. These new suits rely on Dragon's resources exclusively. Hopefully the version 2 suits will be fully self-contained. The new suits are fitted with heads-up displays and cameras. The live spacewalk views will be amazing. The purpose of the Commercial Spacewalk is to test these SpaceX EVA suits. First, the cabin will be vented completely, exposing all 4 crew members to vacuum. Jared and Sarah will then conduct separate EVAs, with Anna and Kid monitoring inside in case anything goes wrong. Another fundamental technology to be tested is the laser Starlink connection between the Polaris Dawn capsule and the Starlink network. This is important because the capsule and the satellites are each moving at 17,500 miles per hour at various altitudes and in different directions. This will require a new level of optical precision. If this can be proven, this technology can enable high bandwidth communications over vast distances like to the Moon and Mars, and its only limitation is the speed of light. In addition to testing the new technologies, Polaris Dawn will also conduct over 40 scientific experiments to advance human health on Earth and our understanding of the human effects of spaceflight. RFA is a launch startup in Europe with a great attitude who recently had a mishap.
Enjoy the footage. It is very spectacular and it has cost us quite some money to generate. The plan for Monday was to hotfire the stage with all 9 engines for the first time. We would ignite the center engine and then pairs of 2 engines with a small delay. One of these motors has developed an anomaly, fire in the oxygen pump. That's really difficult to contain. This damage has spread onto neighboring engines that were compromised, have damaged the propellant manifolding. Fire got more and more intense. We know from the debris analysis that the fire actually turned into an oxygen fire at a later point in time because large portions of engines were simply combusted. They are no longer there. And that has unfortunately compromised the entire thrust frame structure of the stage. And unfortunately, the entire stage collapsed from that. The launch site infrastructure is fine. There is basically no damage on the launch site system. We're quite confident that the design is very sound. It's important to note that this was the very first stage that we ever built, but we will be back on the pad relatively quickly.
The static fire gone wrong is practically a rite of passage for a new space company. Keep at it, RFA. Someone has to get the Europeans adopting new space methods. You might be the only European company trying to lower the cost of access to space. Also this week, NASA announced it was launching the ESCAPADE mission to Mars no earlier than October 13th. Founded in 2000, Blue Origin is at last making its first orbital mission, and it's a payload to Mars too. Butch and Sonny have been on the ISS since June 6th amid the Starliner saga. To catch you up, Starliner had multiple thrusters fail on approach to ISS, but with the manual flying skills of Butch Wilmore, a former Navy test pilot instructor, they were able to dock safely. Much testing and study have followed, and while NASA and Boeing have learned a tremendous amount since, they cannot be confident in Starliner's ability to safely return Wilmore and Sonny Williams. Starliner will return uncrewed, and NASA and Boeing will analyze the data to see what happens next with the Starliner program. On the lighter side of space news this week, Doritos is celebrating the Polaris Dawn launch with zero-G friendly Doritos. These chips are usually coated in dust that gets everywhere, but these are specially coated to be good for snacking in microgravity. Yum. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button. Leave me a comment on whether NASA made the right decision on returning Butch and Sonny on Crew 9. Thanks.